Action. Welcome to NBA Talk with Jordan Valdez. We will have this every morning at 8 a.m. right here. We got a new feature. You can now email your questions to nbatalk@inbox.com and they could be shown on the air. nbatalk@inbox.com. We got that. Every morning we will have two interesting matchups that we will discuss. Today's matchups are our first matchup today is Joe Johnson versus Brandon Roy. We got two shooting guard matchups. Joe Johnson versus Brandon Roy. Joe Johnson had, since being on the Atlanta team, he had his worst overall season this year since he joined the Hawks from Phoenix. However, Brandon Roy, he was injured for almost the entire season. However, when he came back from injury in the playoffs, he had a breakout game since his injury against the Dallas Mavericks in the first round. His team was eliminated, but he had one of the best overall performances in a comeback in playoffs history. So I'm going to give it to Brandon Roy right now. I think Joe Johnson has had an overall better career, but until Joe Johnson starts playing like we know Joe Johnson to play, I'm going to take Brandon Roy right there. Now we got DeShaun Stevenson versus Keith Bogans. Two defensive-minded shooting guards, both the starting shooting guards for their teams, the Dallas Mavericks and the Chicago Bulls, respectively. DeShaun Stevenson, he was known earlier in his career as an offensive-minded shooting guard. Now a defensive-minded shooting guard, and they need that since their backup shooting guard, 6th Man of the Year candidate every year that he doesn't start, Jason Terry, is not that great on defense. So they need DeShaun Stevenson. He's crucial to their team. Keith Bogans got the starting position for Chicago about halfway through the season when Tom Thibodeau gave him the starting shooting guard position. He's really more of a small forward. That's a natural position, but he's also great on defense for the Bulls. The Bulls have been playing excellent basketball. During the regular season, they played excellent basketball, and that was in part to their that was in most part because of their defense. So I'm going to give it to Keith Bogans right here. So, all right, there we go. Next thing we're going to talk about is the Chicago-Miami game last night. Woo! The Miami Heat beat the Chicago Bulls 101-93 in overtime. For Chicago, Derrick Rose had 23 points, Carlos Boozer 20 points, and Luol Deng 20 points. Joakim Noah and Keith Bogans 6 points each. Going back to Keith Bogans, only 6 points. Only 6 points. He has the starting guard position. Only 6 points. He was in today's matchups. We picked him over DeShaun Stevenson. Chicago's leading scorer off their bench was Ronnie Brewer with 7 points. He had that crucial charge that he took in the fourth quarter against LeBron to give Chicago the last possession of the game. It was tied at 85-85. Derrick Rose airballed the buzzer beater attempt, and it went into overtime where Miami won the game again, 101-93. For Miami, LeBron James 35 points on 13 of 13 free throw shooting. Chris Bosh 22 points. Now, interesting stat here: Dwayne Wade only 14 points and 1 assist. Mike Bibby 5 points on 5 points on 1 of 3 shooting from 3-point range. So he's known as being a 3-point shooter. Ever since he's been past his prime, that's pretty much what teams want him for, to bring the ball down to offense and J the 3 when needed. 4 active players did not play for the Miami Heat: Eddie House, Juwan Howard, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, James Jones. Yesterday, if you remember, I predicted Joel Anthony. I predicted Eric Spoelstra to start Joel Anthony in place of Zydrunas Ilgauskas. I was right. Joel Anthony was the starting center for Miami. Zydrunas Ilgauskas he was on the bench. He did not inactivate him. The inactive players for the Heat were Eric Dampier, Jamal McGuire, and Derek Pittman. However, Zydrunas was active and did not play. Okay. Thank you for watching NBA Talk with Jordan Valdez. I'll see you tomorrow.
Woo!